Welcome everybody, my name is Alessandro Ronca, I'm from PER. Renewable Energy Park is a didactical and research center for renewable energy and sustainability activity. And this morning I'm going to show you a system, an irrigation system that is exactly a prototype of what we are using currently in our places. So this is not a small scale example, but it is in the real proportion of what we are using. Sometimes people remain surprised to the fact that how is possible that you irrigate a farm like yours. We have 4 hectares of land. Of course, we cultivate mostly 5,000 square meters of gardens with a little fruit section, and we irrigate all these places with only one photovoltaic panel of 150 watts and a DC pump that is right inside here, that maybe after you can stand and have a look inside of these places. Why we do this? Because our place, even if we are settled in the southern of Umbria, and if you arrive there, we are completely surrounded by a forest. Actually, we have a big problem there. We have no water at all. Okay, we have no municipal line, we have no spring. We tried to dig well up to 200 meters and we didn't find any kind of water. So we decided to follow what they were doing there, because there was an old farm and they were living 4 families and they were completely rely about only rainwater. So it's 20 years now we are living there, and we are completely living only with rainwater, with all uses for human and for agriculture activity. So in this particular case, what we do, we use somehow a very simple system that I discovered in many consultancy we did in farmhouse in Italy, but even around the world, that the water is not considered an important resource like it should be. Okay, this is why, because in agriculture we have a problem that all the agriculture, the industrial agriculture, creates more profits out of the weight of the product you produce. So actually in the past the agriculture was planned to have very high nutrition property to the food what was grown. Nowadays we completely forget this kind of activity, and what is important for any kind of agriculture, unfortunately also with the biological agriculture or synergic or biodynamic, at the end the only things that is important, that the product you get out of your soil is very heavy. Okay, and that is a very unusual thing and not very rational, but actually is what is happening nowadays. So most of the people, to create more heavy product, they use 2 elements. Water, of course, that you have to own it, and the other elements essential to create the weight of the product is oil. Most of our agriculture is sum of oil and water. More oil and water you put, and more heavy will become your product, and more money you will take it out from the agriculture. And this is exactly the opposite direction we are researching in PER. We are researching actually all the cultivar and agriculture style that can create you more nutrition rather than weight. And of course, it is not important that will be heavy. The important thing is that will be high nutrition for the agriculture. In fact, if you consider what the industrial agriculture is doing nowadays, is using 10 kilocalories of oil to produce 1 kilocalories of food. Okay, we are using this balance nowadays, using 10 to get out 1, and is unbelievable situation, because if you really think in the past, that was an impossible operation to do, because in the past all the agriculture was held by the human power or animal power, and if you use a power of 10 to take out 1 unit of foods, we'll be not around now. Okay, we are completely extinct already. So this is why I like to let people think about this situation, because it is a very sensitive situation, and there is not very much rumors about this issue. It's something like agriculture is a protected environment that nobody can touch. Okay, but in the agriculture section, if you remove the contribution in Europe for the European community, the agriculture will completely stop, because with this energy balance will be not sustainable anymore. So what we are trying to do, because we are still trying, it's not easy to do these things, because due to the fact that we are working and based mostly on the heavy product, the humanity has lost 2/3 of the variety of plants that in the age of millennium was selected by the human to have a very high nutrition property against the weight of production. Now the only product they are harvesting in the agriculture they are more heavy products than more nutrition product. So this is why we joined Slow Food protocol, and what we are using, what we are doing, we are putting back in production ancient cultivation that was done without water, because that was one of the main problems we were having in the past, because it was not easy to drill a well like we do now, to put down a pump and pull out a lot of water. So if you start to think with an ancient mind that you know, the farmers in the past were not stupid, were very smart people, and there was, now we call permaculture, but of course before it was normal. It was not need to have a special section of instruction to understand that you cannot grow something that is impossible to grow with the force you have. Okay, so the idea is to go back to the normality, okay, and to use the agriculture with a proper sense of using less energy than possible, less water than possible, maximum nutrition than possible. This is the 3 elements for me that has to be followed, that they are not much more now on the agenda of most of the country around the world. Okay, so what we do, actually, we collect rainwater. Rainwater is our main source of water in Perth. And of course, we use several tricks to make the most efficient collection than possible. Of course, we use the roof to collect the water, but we don't pour immediately the rainwater inside the tank, because the first rain normally brings a lot of dirty things inside the tank. So we invented actually a pre-filter, that is a first water filter, first rain filter, that is very easy to build. That now I'm gonna share with you this invention, and it's very easy to build. The most important thing is that you have to know exactly what does it mean a millimeter of rain on your roof. Did everybody knows what is a millimeter? What does it mean? A millimeter of rain on your roof in terms of liters? 1 liter. That's correct. Okay. So when there is a rain, so 1 millimeter on your roof, liter of rains. Okay. So the first rain filter have to allow you to stop the first millimeter of rain going in your tank, because that is dirty water that will put you in a condition that you have work to purify more the water you are storing in a tank. So the filter is very easy to build because you have to know exactly which is the surface of your roof. If, for example, in Perth we have 300 square meter of roof, so what you have to build is a cistern of 300 liter of water, okay? Or to buy, you're not asked to build for sure if you don't want. Inside this cistern, you will have a pipe that will enter inside the cistern. But this pipe also is connected to the main cistern that you want to fill after. Is that okay? Clear? Okay. Inside this cistern, you just put a football ball inside. You just put a ball inside the cistern. Okay? What's happened that when it starts to rain, the first millimeter of rain, I mean 1 millimeter on 300 square meter, will fill up the tank of 300 liter. The ball inside the tank will raise until it will close the entrance of the rain inside, and the water will pass and will go in the second tank, and all this first water will be conserved for irrigation if you want, because it's very high nutrition, full of bacteria, very good for the plants, or you can use in other recycled way. This is a first water filter not available on the market, but you can build very easy with a football ball. That's it. Okay.
And a question.
Yeah.
And that you only have to do if you want to use the water to drink. If you want to use the water to
you don't need.
Then you don't need.
You don't need, of course, because of course we use rainwater for all human use also. So we like to have good water storage. Okay, so after that, this water will go in a cistern. Okay, we use it to store water in a cistern. We have in Perth almost 250 cubic meter of collection of water. But this system works also if you have a well. So if you don't have a cistern but you have a well, this pump allows you to pull up water at 70 meter deep, and allows you more or less an average with this size of panel that is 150 watts power of 3,000 liter a day average. Okay, average because it's very difficult to say it will be very sunny, cloudy or not. So what's happened that these systems work directly on the pump. If somebody of you was yesterday, we have explained the energy box here, where there was a photovoltaic panel who was charging a battery inside here, and then from the battery we were pulling out energy to use it directly. This system is somehow more advanced. Because it's more advanced, because it's not using battery storage. Because the battery, of course, is a very important part if you want to use the electricity during the nights when there is no sun. But of course, with this system, we use a low-tech solution that's allowed to do you what? The zero energy vehicle. That's a good efficiency anyway. Okay, we use the power produced to with this panel, connect directly to a fuse box, of course, for purposes of emergency and to stop the pump if we don't need, to start the pump. Okay, this pump works directly with the sun. There is no other electronics connection. So if I shade, it will stop. Okay.
If it's cloudy,
it will work. Clouds. If the clouds are full of rain, maybe not. But if it's cloudy, it works anyway.
How much is one of these?
150 watts.
No, how much money would you pay?
Okay, you consider €1 per watt. Top quality product, €150 to buy one panel of this one. Okay. What? Sorry?
It's nothing.
It's nothing, sure. No, it's very cheap. Okay.
How long is one panel lasting?
That is a very controversial issue, okay? Because the producer of panels give you a guarantee normally of 25 years. That's oh,
And
okay.
who is the producer of that? China?
This one is Italian, okay? One of the most, I was telling to one of you, I don't know if he's around, but oh, he's gone. One of the best panels in Europe are produced in Umbria, in Italy. Okay, it's a dell'Energia, it's an Italian company, very good, and they produce it and do it. Not this one, this is also assembled in Italy. But the thing is that 25 years of guarantee is already an unbelievable expectation of life. That there is no product you can buy in your life that can be working out of 25 years. That you should be already happy. But the people are not satisfied. No, photovoltaics is not a good solution because you use energy to produce it, and maybe the energy you are using to produce it is more than what is out of what you get for it. Is not true. Otherwise they will not producing. It's not something that you have they don't get income like contribution like agriculture. Agriculture doesn't work because you need 10 times the energy to produce one. Photovoltaics works really well, okay? But the very good news I want to give you, that is not very much common to hear, but I have photovoltaic system that are aged 35 years ago, that they works perfectly. Okay, the only problem that you have that you reduce the efficiency of the panel. So if you have a 100 watts panel, okay, after 25 years normally he produces 80% of their own capacity. We have 35 years old panel that they works at 65% efficiency. So it means that today if you buy a solar photovoltaics, in 35 years you're gonna be reduced about 35% of efficiency. But if we consider the improvement of the efficiency of the equipment, in 35 years probably we can do something that we cannot even imagine what we can do with the energy in 35 years. So I think that the photovoltaics still remain an unbelievable, incredible technology. Thanks to NASA, unfortunately, we have to thanks. Okay, before we have to thanks Einstein to have understand the photovoltaic principle, but then we have to thanks NASA that they want to go on the moon, and they have to develop the photovoltaics system. Unfortunately, due to the fact that was developed for space activity, the photovoltaics on the planet Earth doesn't work very well. Okay, because in the space with minus 273 degrees it works really well, and you have no clouds, no atmosphere to stop you the infrared ray, but still remains on the planet the best way you can produce energy on the planets. And of course he suffer a little bit of temperature. So it's a little bit contradiction that more high is the temperature on the surface and more reduce the efficiency on the photovoltaic. This is why in winter time with sunny days you can get better result out of the photovoltaics rather than in the summer time. This is
that because of the material?
Because of the silicium, okay? Most of them they are produced in silicium. Silicium as a, I don't know exactly the terms in English to say, but is a sort of defect that with the temperature reduce the curve of efficiency. Okay, so we have more sun luckily in hours, but the temperature reduced the efficiency of working on it. But still, it's good, very good. Okay, so what happened here actually is that why there is no battery on this system. There is no battery because the battery is a problem. I mean, it's a cost anyway, and of course we love to develop the idea to reduce as much as possible the use of money. Okay, if you reduce the use of money, you live much better. Okay, you have to work less, and of course you get same benefit, but in this case the storage of the energy is not a chemical in a battery, but the storage of energy is in the gravity. Okay, so what we do in our places and what we have done in this little prototype, that the pump is filling a gravity tank, okay, during the day. So you have all day long to fill the tank. Okay, of course you have to dimension the tank according of the size of the pump and blah blah blah, of course. Okay, but once the tank is full, okay, the pump stops. Okay, because there is no need to use mechanical consumption if there is no need to pump. So the pump stops itself. And what you have here, you have a potential energy accumulated to use the irrigation when will be night. Because of course, if you want to be really efficient, you don't have to do what they do in the field around now, that they give water every day in the day at noon, they push, because they don't care, okay? They get income, you know, they get benefit, because they should, if they will not get that money, they will not pump during the day, because if they should pay for the water they are using like this, I'm sure they will not pump during the day, but agriculture is a champagne party every time, okay? So we don't use. So what happened? When this is full, okay, you have stored all the energy in gravity. And the advantage is that, of course, this is not a battery, it's a tank, and can long last years, forever. At you also, okay? When it's time to irrigate, okay, you can, of course, open. Now the tank, there is pressure, of course, but I will simulate night, okay? So there is no sun, okay? Water is full, and you have the gravity. So here there is a high-tech timer, okay, and this is a lovely timer. I love very much because there is no electronics inside. You know, I'm just specifying this issue because I come from the high-tech evolution, okay? I was putting computer, informatic, Arduino everywhere because I was sure that the technology will save us from extinction and blah 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 blah. Now, after 15 years of high-tech feeling pair, I can tell you that the more efficient things are the ones that they are based on physical and chemical principle, not on informatic issue. This is my opinion, of course. Probably if you want to make an operation, your heart with a medic, with a doctor 1,000 kilometers, technology can help. But only, I think, in that case. For all the rest, you can find probably better solution. The low tech is somehow a discipline, new one, that connects you with the old ancient Greek thing that there was the polymathias. I don't know if you know, polymathias means that the man in the past was able to know different fields of their life. It was not like today a specialized man, because to live in the future, I don't think that we need a specialized person, but we will still have need of person who have an horizontal vision of their life. They can join together technical things, physical things, chemical things, and that can give you a proper and more durable life, and probably with less money exigent. This is my opinion. This is why to irrigate I stopped to use electronics device, or maybe okay, I can do Bluetooth, okay, smart grid, let's go with this, we want Internet of the Things, we want connection everywhere. I completely refuse that kind of idea, and not because of a principle, because I'm telling you, after 15 years of electronics, everything is going broken now. Everything is broken down, okay? So the only thing are not broken are the things that are so simple and was done like this because was having more sense. Rather, if something to work needs a lot of electronics, probably there is something wrong behind, of course. And I make you an example. If you know the 2CV car of Citroën, do you know the two? Okay. 2CV Citroën, okay? The 2CV Citroën built in 1957 is more efficient than Citroën C1 produced yesterday in terms of efficiency. So we are talking about 60 years of development of technology that have produced a car that is less efficient than the one you can buy in 1956. Okay, so this is a very surprising me in many fields, and I'm discovering this in a lot of application, and this is why for irrigate here we use a mechanical timer, okay, that will remain open until a spring will close it. Okay, you decide how many times it can be on, and when it has to stop, it will stop automatically. So you go in the field, you don't have to wait there, of course. We want to have some facility, but we'll just open it for a time. You know how many liters, of course, of water will go on the field, and then it's gonna stop. This is a very simple way to let these things work. And of course, if you are really in need to use this system at night, because for example you have an emergency or you have a situation that you have to use the water anyway, what you can do, you can just disconnect your photovoltaic system and just connect to a 12-volt source that can be a battery of a car, because this pump needs only 8 amps to work. Okay, so a 100 amps battery can run it with no problem, and you can move the pump anyway for emergency use or for any kind of purpose maybe you are in need to do without following the proper time. So how does it work? Technically, okay, I close it manually, but it will stop after some while. I don't know how many minutes I did. 15, too much. Okay, how it works and what is the other unusual combination that most of the farm I visit or we did consultancy, normally they use for irrigation 2 pipes. Okay, one pipe is used to fill the tank, okay, and a second pipe is used to pull out water to the tank. Okay, so you need a line of 2 pipes, that means double of the cost of the irrigation. You can do this system and use a small mechanical secrets, okay, and use only 1 pipe. This is, in fact, it's called single pipe solar irrigation, and that is another characteristic of this system, because you have actually, there is 1 pipe, okay, outlet from the pump that is filling the tank, okay. The outlet, okay, we connect it just on top of here for a question of practicity to move it, but this outlet should be put any places during the way of the pipes, okay. So you could have this tank maybe at the restaurant where you eat, and movement. How is possible this? Because of this very smart valve that is put it here. This valve is, I don't know the proper name in English, I think it's called gravity non-return valve. In Italy we call, that is French name is Caplet valves, okay? That is not a normal non-return valve. Non-return valve is a valve where inside there is a spring, okay? That avoid water to go in the opposite sense, allowed water to go only on one sense. Okay, this valve makes the same works, but there is no spring inside. It's just a matter of the gravity. Because you don't have heavy pressure. If you use gravity tank, you don't create big pressure unless you have the possibility to put this tank very high. You know, the pressure on the sea level, I don't know if you know it, but the pressure on the sea level is 1 bar. Normally for irrigation you need at least 1.5 bar to work it out. That means that this tank should be at 15 meters. That is an heavy cost. So instead, if you just put up to 2 meters like this and you use drop irrigation on the single plants, not giving water in a big pipe, is enough 0.2 bar to let the system work. But the non-return valve, if should have the spring, will be not closing and will always let the water coming out. Instead you don't want. Instead the gravity, you know what's happened? Here the water is pumped, enters and go up here to the ball valve, like this. So this is the way the water is doing. Enters, here there is a Caplet valve, so cannot enter here, and goes up here. Here there is a ball valve. When the tank is full completely, the ball valve closed and the water will not enter anymore. And there will be a pressure switch here, this one, that will tell that the water does not to go. So if we want to simulate that again, I start the pump is pumping. Okay, if this tank is full, the ball valve closed. I do manually, but there will be a ball valve inside. So I closed. Okay, and the pressure switch I've just adjusted here for 2 bar only, but of course if you are taking from different highness you have to adjust it on a different pressure. Okay, here we have very low pressure needs. At 2 bar it's gonna stop. So the tank is full. Okay, at this moment what happens? If I open a tap and the system is full of water, the water can only come out from the non-return valve that is down here. Okay, and the system will allow you to give you water all the line up to the last bottom part. And the system works really fine. There are 15 years we are using it, never have a problem. The only problem that can happen is that the pump have some brushes, of course, inside that can be spoiled of the use, and you can change the brush and the pump go ahead. That's it. If you have any questions, yes?
I have a very simple question.
Yeah.
Maybe you all know, but what happens if it rains ice?
Yes.
Protect the panel.
The panel itself, they are a stress quality test that is made with a stainless steel ball of 200 grams fall down from 20 meters highness. So this is the resistance of the photovoltaics. If there is a particularly heavy rain that climate change unfortunately will face very soon, you have to do a very good insurance and let you pay you back the money, because there is nothing you can do on to protect the panel itself, because if you put another glass on top, whatever you put on top of the panel will reduce the efficiency of the functionality of the panel itself. So it's a matter that probably what you can do to reduce the incidence angle, you can create a different angle out of it. Of course, it will reduce a little bit the efficiency, but it depends on which climate area are you staying. Probably this will let the crash to be less heavy on the panel itself. If it's flat, of course, will be exposed to the total smash of it. Yes.
Yeah, are you concerned about the residue from chemtrails? Is that an issue at all for you?
Sorry?
Chemtrails.
Camp trails?
Chemtrails from the airplanes.
Yeah.
As far as the dirt coming down or with the residue from what's in them?
For you mean for drinkable issue? Okay.
Or even irrigation.
We have no big chance to do something out of it. What you can do and what we do in Per, that we use rainwater for human use, of course, we have different level stage of potabilization. Okay, what we do actually, we use for sanitary use, not for drinkable water or for food preparation. We use UV lamps with microfiltration of 20 microns size. Okay, and that allows you that you will not have bacteria affection on your hygiene. Mostly. For food preparation, the only way that you can avoid and remove the chemical, unfortunately, contamination that all the rains have, unless you are in the deserts somewhere in Africa, it uses an reverse osmosis filter. That is the only solution that can prevent you to have chemical contamination or heavy metal inside the water. No other solution. What we can say that the nature itself, using the irrigation, will help a little bit the plant itself, his roots, the soil itself will help. Of course, if you want to be more safe, you could create a sort of circular movement of the water before you go and store it somewhere, to have different stage to at least try to reduce a little bit the contamination. But unfortunately, chemicals, there is no biocharts that can help you. Okay, mostly all the chemicals will remain on water. So of course, I suggest you to just make some several tests on the water you are using to be sure which kind of contamination you get. Of course, the aeroplane is a big problem, but the aeroplanes are not the only problem. Most are the factory that they are pouring in the sky whatever they want. For economy, we do a lot of horrible things.
So you mentioned your filter is the ball system, so you have one roof full of 1 millimeter water, 300 meter roof, which is filling your 300 liter tank. Then it goes onto your next tanks.
Yeah.
The first tank you're using mainly for irrigation.
Yeah.
The next tanks you will use for drinking or
for everything, yes.
You have another filter.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that is just a storage. The advantage to use rainwater are, of course, very many. Of course. First advantage is free of charge. That it seems to be a stupid thing, but in the past, water is gonna raise up the cost heavily in a way that we cannot even imagine. Okay, because the availability of purified water is very little. And the way they treat the water, actually they just put chlorine on it, and they want to be safe that nobody will get contamination. But chlorine is gonna kill bacteria, but if it's kill bacteria, probably maybe we don't know exactly. Probably we will know in the future. But this is first advantage of rainwater. Then we have other advantages, actually, that due to the fact that the water is somehow acidic, because of the human activity, that's give you an advantage for conservation, because in acid water the bacteria don't live very well. Okay, so this allows you to maintain rainwater more longer than mineral water or well water dig out of the soil. Then, okay. The other issue of the rainwater, using it not for irrigation. Of course, for irrigation, rainwater is the best water you can use it, okay? Because the plants grows on rainwater, so it's the water that they like as much as you can give them. The other thing is that if you use for human use, rainwater allows you to use half of the detergent chemicals to clean. Even for your body treatment, but even for washing dishes, dishwashers and whatever. So you use half of the product because no mineral are inside it, and so you need very few quantity of chemicals to use it. If you produce your product yourself, okay, there is a little leakage, start. If you use to produce yourself with more biological product you can produce yourself, that is a perfect base to use it and to prepare the detergents. Another issue for rainwater is also in the technical plants. Technical plant like dishwasher or washing machine unfortunately use an electric resistance inside. Okay, the electric resistance inside, if you use it with mineral water, okay, it start to create a calcium deposit on it. Okay, this calcium deposit is not visible. Okay, you're gonna call the technician when the resistance doesn't work anymore. But since that point, your appliance will start to absorb 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 70%, 90% more than what they was consuming before without you notice that, because you have no instrument that is gonna tell you how much energy you are consuming in your house until it stops. Then you call the technician. If you use rainwater, all these problems disappear because of course you have no any kind of deposits on the resistance, so the plants work very well. The one thing you have to be considering that due to the acidic base of the rainwater, that is not suggested to use galvanized pipe on rainwater, okay, because in the long lasting they're gonna be corrosive. And it happens to me, my sister in my house after 20 years, okay, was having only the outlet in galvanized pipe inside the cement, okay, was completely eaten and all the water came out to my sister, and so I experienced this nice thing. So unfortunately it's a place where the petroleum oil derivatives, they are welcome, okay? If you use plastic pipe or aluminum pipe or PEX, they are more suitable to use for...
The yellow one?
Yeah, this is PVC.
No, I think
This one?
no. Beyond. Messing. No.
Which one?
No.
This one?
Yes, this one.
Okay,
That's
this,
the same.
no, this one is copper or brass, sorry. It's brass, it's okay, much better, okay, but best things, I know, I use aluminium, okay, there are some PEX pipes that is in aluminium inside, and they are more expensive of course, but they are very good for that purposes, but plastic can work in these things, I know. Okay, other questions? Hope.
So you don't use it for drinking any time?
You can drink rainwater, of course. The only problem that you are to add minerals on it. So sometimes technically can be done using stones. Okay, so we did a lot of experimentation about that. We take the water from the municipality, and we have the house of waters. We use that one because it's very cheap and is a common sense of civilization. But if you are forced to use rainwater to drink, you can drink it. Don't change your food style, you can add the minerals, but if you adjust a little bit your food style, you can drink it as it is after osmosis, okay? And the only things that is poor are minerals, so you have to eat a little bit different comparing with what you are used to eat when you drink mineral water. That's it. Sorry?
Salt in the food.
Yeah, salt, fish, of course. I'm a vegetarian, but when I lived in Maldives for a long time, and there we were forced to use the rainwater, and I used the fish to implement my diet because there was no other solution there. But you can find many different ways. A little bit more minerals is suitable, yes. Thank you very much. They are saying that we are finished, that we have to quit. I'm here for any kind of question you want to do. Thank you very much. Thanks.